years. First item on the agenda is the public input period. So it's an opportunity for people.
Adoption of agenda, not? Oh, right. Sorry. Yep.
We did that a while ago, Councillor Isaacson. So it's an opportunity for at least 3 members of the public to speak for 2 minutes on an item on today's agenda, either under legislative matters, committee recommendations, or new business. Are there any members of the public who would like to provide some public input?
My name is Kathy Korlick. I'm representing the Westview ratepayers, and I am speaking on the complex 11.3. General information on that. So before I get to my questions, I have a brief preamble and start with, we had a recent survey.
This isn't a question period, it's a public comment period.
I'm commenting.
It's your opportunity to make comments.
I will. I'll make lots. So in a recent survey, public safety and security has been named as a top priority. In the past few months, fire activity in our community has raised major concerns. The proposed new hearth and home supportive housing is very close to our forest, seniors, and family communities. It has been observed that the public drug use has increased, visible on the existing supportive housing grounds, and has become more obvious around Driftwood Shelter. Establishing a second supportive housing complex could increase safety concerns in the adjoining neighborhoods. Visible drug use, as well as drug paraphernalia left in public areas, endangering children and pets. I know the community doesn't want to see the situation arise, and I'm sure the council doesn't either. Or whether it's in that neighborhood or any other, including Barnett. And I would appreciate the fact that the council, I'm sure, has taken into consideration the need for safe, affordable senior housing versus a second supportive housing building for the unhoused. And I'm hoping that there is a plan to move forward with this issue. Considering the seniors have raised us, worked hard, and paid taxes all their lives, I'm hoping there's a plan to put the needs of vulnerable people into action. Let me be perfectly clear. The importance of providing care, treatment, and rehabilitation to those in need is imperative. Unfortunately, the system in place does not seem to be working as planned. In closing, we're hoping that decisions made towards some of the motions tonight are put forward to fall. Thank you for your attention.
Now, I'm going to ask to have no clapping or cheering or any other.
Oh, come on.
I'm just asking people to abide by the decorum for council and let people speak. So next.
Good evening, council. My name is Diane Sparks, and I would like to make 3 brief points regarding the social housing proposal on tonight's agenda. First, the current housing model has created significant challenges in our community, and many residents do not want to see those problems repeated. Second, taxpayers in Powell River have expressed concerns about bringing additional social issues into our city without effective solutions and supports in place. Third, consideration when it comes to housing, we should ensure that the people who help build this community have access to safe, affordable housing as they age. Since this council seems to disregard public opinion, the next election may be the community's best opportunity to elect representatives who will actually listen to the people they serve. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Good evening, Council. My name is Brianne Bennett, and I'm speaking tonight as a community member, advocate, and someone who has spent years working directly with individuals struggling with addiction, mental health challenges, homelessness, and recovery. Tonight, I want to speak about the proposed permanent supportive housing project and ask questions that many residents are asking but feel are not answered. My first question is this: what happened to treatment first? For years, we've been told that treatment and recovery are priorities, yet what we continue to see is an expansion of supportive housing while treatment beds, recovery programs, and sober living opportunities remain extremely limited. Supportive housing has a place in our community. I understand that. People need a roof over their heads, but housing alone does not treat addiction. When individuals are living in environments where active drug use, drug trafficking, overdoses, and substance use are occurring around them every day, how can we honestly expect those who want recovery to succeed? As someone who has worked in this field, I've seen people fight incredibly hard to get clean. Recovery is difficult enough without asking people to live in an environment where the very thing they're trying to escape is constantly around them. What are the investments in recovery housing? What are the sober living homes? Where are the recovery communities that provide accountability, peer support, structure, employment opportunities, and a path toward independence? Many people in our community want recovery. They want a chance to rebuild relationships with their family, gain employment, contribute to society, and live healthy lives. Why are we not creating housing options that support these goals? My concern is that we continue investing heavily in one side of the continuum while neglecting the other. A truly compassionate system should provide options. Not everyone is ready for treatment. Not everyone is ready for sobriety, but those who are should have somewhere to go. Right now, many do not. My second question concerns transparency and accountability. Why was Lyft selected as the operator for this project? Why was there a public request for proposal process? Was the project put out to a competitive bid? What other organizations given an opportunity to submit a proposal? If not, why not? Public funds are involved. Taxpayer dollars are involved. The community deserves transparency regarding how these decisions are made. When public contracts are awarded, residents should have confidence that the process was fair, open, and based on measurable qualifications and outcomes. These questions are not intended as an attack on any organization. They are questions about the governance, accountability, and public trust. We are not the only community facing these challenges. Across British Columbia, municipalities are struggling with homelessness, addiction, public safety concerns, and questions about whether current approaches are producing the outcomes that were promised. Even organizations in other communities are beginning to recognize that housing alone is not enough. Recovery must be part of the conversation. I believe our community deserves a balanced approach that includes emergency shelter for those in crisis, supportive housing for those who need stability, access to detox and treatment, recovery-oriented housing and sober living options, employment and life skills programs, clear pathways towards independence. Most importantly, people should have the right to choose recovery if that is the path they want. Tonight, I'm asking Council to answer two simple questions. What concrete plans exist to increase treatment, recovery housing, and sober living opportunities in our community? And what process was used to select the operator of the supportive housing project? The people of Powell River deserve transparency. The people struggling with addiction deserve options. And the people working every day toward recovery deserve support. Thank you for your time.
I see one other person, and it looks like they would like to speak in the public input period. Are there any others beside the person in the lineup? Council, okay to hear from one more speaker, and I'll ask you to please keep it to 2 minutes.
Good evening, Council. My name is Carolyn Jackson. I won't speak as fast as Brianne. In 2018, the community was told that supportive housing with support services was needed to improve outcomes for people struggling with addiction, mental health challenges, and homelessness. A facility was built at 4910 Joyce at a cost of more than $12 million, in addition to ongoing annual operating expenses. At the time, Council stated that this housing was not intended to be permanent. Residents would enter into support agreements, not tenancies. Since then, that model has changed. The units are now tenancies located on hospital lands, despite hospitals being intended to provide healthcare services rather than housing. More recently, Council told the community that a 40-bed shelter was needed to improve conditions for people experiencing homelessness, addiction, and mental health challenges. After an investment of approximately $4.6 million in capital costs, and an annual operating budget of $1.6 million, the shelter was built at 7104 Barnett Street. However, since opening, the shelter has not come close to reaching capacity. At the same time, people continue to live in the bush, fires continue to occur in our forests and walking trails, and individuals are still regularly seen passed out in front of the shelter and the OPS site gate on Barnett Street at all hours of the day and night. For these reasons, I urge Council to delay the final reading and adoption of the zoning amendment bylaw for city-owned lands at 5,000 Joyce Avenue. This amendment would allow the city to enter into a long-term lease with BC Housing for the development of a facility consisting of 40 supportive housing units, 4 complex care beds, and a 20-bed permanent shelter, along with support services. Why can't Council demand safe, sober, second-stage housing instead? It is important to note that similar support services were promised when the facility at 4910 Joyce was developed. Those services are voluntary rather than mandatory. The proposed new facility will be operated by Lyft Community Service. To my knowledge, BC Housing did not issue a public request for proposals for this project. My understanding of BC Housing procurement policy is that services and construction contracts exceeding $100,000 are generally subject to a competitive procurement process through Bid BC. Finally, by proceeding with this rezoning amendment now, the current council would be making a significant long-term decision that will greatly affect the options available to the next council. Given the importance of this issue to our community, I believe residents should have an opportunity to weigh in through the municipal election process this fall before a final decision is made. I respectfully ask council to postpone final adoption of this bylaw and allow the community to have a greater voice in determining the future of this project. Thank you.